All right, welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive.
It's always a pleasure to be back.
Today, we're going to be diving into the world of plant-based diets.
Plant-based diets, very interesting.
Yeah, so we're going to be going beyond just like the, typical things you hear about, like, oh, it's healthy or whatever. We're going to be talking about some pretty cool stuff today.
Absolutely. I think what's really interesting about plant-based diets is they go beyond just personal health, right? They really start to touch on some really important global issues, too.
Yeah, for sure. So before we get too far into it, just so we're all on the same page, when we say plant-based diet, what do we actually mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of people hear plant-based and they think, oh, veganism or vegetarianism, which those can be plant-based, right?
Sure.
But, plant-based really just emphasizes foods that come from plants, right? So we're talking fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, which are things like beans and lentils, nuts and seeds, really shifting that focus to these really nutrient-rich options.
Okay, so it's not just about what you're not eating. It's more about what you are eating.
Exactly.
Cool. So I know a lot of people are curious about the health benefits, right? Like, why are plant-based diets so popular? What have you found about that?
I mean, the health benefits are really remarkable when you start digging into the research. Like, for example, plant-based diets have been linked to a lower risk of heart disease. And part of that is because the fiber in these diets helps regulate blood sugar levels, which is also really good for reducing your risk of developing type 2 diabetes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And another one I think a lot of people don't realize is that some of the compounds found in plants, like flavonoids, which you find in berries, they have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, and those can actually play a role in protecting against certain cancers.
Wow. So there's like a lot more to it than just like the simple eat your veggies kind of thing.
Oh yeah, way more.
Okay.
Yeah, I think one area that's been really fascinating to me is how plant-based diets can impact our gut health.
Gut health. Yeah, that's a hot topic.
Huge, right? Because essentially our gut is home to trillions of bacteria.
Wow.
And the type of bacteria that thrives in there, it's influenced by what we eat.
Okay.
So when we eat a lot of plant-based foods, particularly those high in fiber, that fiber acts as food for the beneficial bacteria in our gut, like bifidobacteria and lactobacilli, and these are like the good guys, right?
Okay.
They play a key role in everything from digestion and nutrient absorption to even supporting a healthy immune system.
So it's like we're tending to a garden, but it's the garden in our gut.
Exactly.
Something I've always kind of wondered, though, plant-based diets are often, recommended for weight management.
Right.
But how can you feel full and satisfied on a plant-based diet? Like, I think a lot of people have this misconception that they're going to be hungry all the time.
Yeah, and that's just not true. It's really all about understanding calorie density versus nutrient density.
Okay.
So think of it this way. 100 calories of broccoli, for example, is going to take up a lot more space in your stomach than, say, 100 calories of cheese.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. But that broccoli is also packed with nutrients that are going to keep you feeling full and energized for a lot longer.
It makes sense. Yeah, it's not just about like deprivation, right? It's about making choices that actually nourish you and keep you satisfied.
Exactly.
All right, so we talked a lot about the health benefits, but
Yeah.
shifting gears a bit, what about the environmental impact? Can you tell us about the connection between plant-based diets and the environment?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a big one because, animal agriculture contributes a significant amount to global greenhouse gas emissions.
Oh, wow.
Some estimates say nearly 15% of all human-caused greenhouse gas emissions.
Wow.
And then you think about all the resources that go into producing meat and the amount of land, the amount of water. That's significantly more than what's needed to produce plant-based foods.
So essentially, by choosing more plant-based options, you're not just helping yourself, you're helping the planet.
Yeah, I think that's what's really powerful about the shift towards plant-based eating. It's like this win-win situation. You're taking care of your own health and you're contributing to a healthier planet at the same time.
Yeah, very cool. So for someone listening who's maybe thinking, okay, this sounds interesting, I want to try it, what would you recommend as like a good starting point for incorporating more plant-based meals into their life?
I always say it doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? You don't have to go vegan or vegetarian overnight. Start small. Try having one plant-based meal a day, or maybe experiment with some new plant-based recipes. Even those small steps can make a big difference.
Yeah, I love that. Small changes, big impact.
Exactly.
Well, as we wrap up here, is there any final thought you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I would say, think of your plate as a canvas,
Ooh, I like that.
Be creative, Experiment with colors, textures, flavors. Plant-based eating is anything but boring.
I love that. That's a great way to put it. Thanks for taking us on this deep dive.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure being here.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch